part of this path that I took to become an educator was driven by the need for experience. So early on in my life, I realized that probably most of what I would try to undertake wouldn't happen until I reached an older age, but that did not give me an excuse not to do anything. So I went about gathering as much experience as I could. My parents used to tell me all the time that there was nothing that I couldn't do if I put my mind to it. And I really took that to heart. And as you say, 37 jobs, I definitely tried to do everything. So here, I can say that my activist life and the life of a leader really started just by showing up.
Of the labels that I wear comfortably, leadership is not one of them. It's maybe a pushback against my own misconception of what leadership is. And I don't know that I have defined it yet. And I don't know what you all maybe have read in books or studied from other people. I don't know what that is yet for me. I recognize that I have an audience, and I choose to use my space in order to lift up the work that I feel that is important for us to do. Glenn mentioned the idea of collaborative leadership, and that is so true. Individual leadership for me, I see that as a need for individual power, very white supremacy based kind of idea. I enjoy the spaces that we share where we examine ideas, work things out, and figure out how to make them real.
This is leadership, asking questions and dialoguing with people that come from a wide range of backgrounds that can provide us with a lot of wisdom and the ability to cultivate our own cultural spiritual power, because we take what we learn from here and we use our voice. And the voice and the cultural spiritual power aspect of leadership is the strongest one that we have. A lot of people have political power and a lot of people have economic power. And even if we might not have that, we have our voices and we have our cultural spiritual power. And that's what we teach at the Institute for Community Leadership. So thank you both again for being here and showing your cultural spiritual leadership power, and giving us inspiration to use it again in other settings, not just here, but in schools, in the courtrooms, in our families, in business meetings. Leadership is everywhere.
What you have in front of you is two educators, right? And you have two really anti-racist educators. So what you have is listeners. And we, like Mike said, we want to take away from this whatever it is that you're asking us and take it and do something with it. And if this is about your voice, this is what we want to hear. So whatever questions you want to ask, know that we're pretty much going to ask you too.
I think students find it incredibly, strugglingly difficult when faced with those questions from us. Students have been taught through the K-12 system that knowledge and power are held in that individual in front of the class, and that we are somehow in some way, shape, or form responsible for delivering that information to you. You are the empty vessel. I am the person with the knowledge, therefore I will fill you up with the knowledge that I have. And I just refuse to do that.
I'm coming to you as a future young leader of color. How would we use our experience as an asset and not let ourselves be sort of like going with the system and let our mindsets being colonized? Like, how do you guys go against that and like let your past experiences like help you instead of seeing it as like something that needs to be changed or something that needs to be like be made better?
Then I come back to my community, right? And I don't mean like the broader sense. Like, I have my squad, and my squad is going to hold me accountable, right? And that if I have externalized my internalized racism, right? If I have done something in ways that cause harm, they're going to let me know, right? They're not gonna call me out. They're gonna call me in.